Hi, Dominic. It's lovely seeing you today. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you? It looks very sunny there.
I'm doing good. Yeah, we're in summer here in Argentina.
Lucky you.
Well, lucky me to be talking with you. And I want to tell you, first of all, Dominic, The Crown has been one of my favorite shows ever.
Brilliant.
I'm kind of like sad.
Yeah.
We just don't want it to end.
Well, just start back at the beginning again then.
How was it for you, and how difficult it is to say goodbye to Prince Charles and to this incredible character you had played over the years?
Yeah, it was very difficult. You know, he has a very complicated but also amazing life, and I just loved briefly, for the brief amount of time, wearing his clothes and driving his cars and going to the sort of houses he goes to. I'm really going to miss people bowing to me. The second to last day of filming, we were in York Minster, which is this amazing cathedral in Yorkshire, in England, and you know, there was a full orchestra, a full choir, 400 extras bowing to me and Olivia Williams as we walked down the aisle, and I just thought, it's never going to get better than this. It's a grandeur and a scale that you don't come across.
What did playing Prince Charles teach you?
The biggest lesson, that's interesting. It's not very interesting, but one of the things it taught me was how difficult it is to appear immaculate all the time. Costume people adjusting everything and makeup and everything. You have to be very practiced at this not to look awful the whole time. Women have it much more than men, you know, you understand it better than I. It's tough appearing immaculate the whole time. It's tough appearing good and being ready to be on camera your whole life. That's my idea of hell, and that's something that he hasn't chosen, but he has to endure.
Don't really understand how I ended up here. Dashing around. And losing sight of myself in the process. You know, I think that's been the story of my whole life.
Was there like any special thing that it was like very difficult for you to copy from him? Because I know that you have been studying him for almost a year. Is that true?
Oh yeah, at least, yeah, a couple of years really. But, I found it very difficult getting out of cars, just doing all this stuff that he does, and I found that quite tricky. But I suppose the hardest stuff is doing all the emotional, because you never see him emotional really, and you don't nearly know what the royals are like when they feel deep emotion, because that's not something we associate with them. You know, Peter had written he's howling with grief in the hills of Scotland, and he's howling with grief in the hospital in Paris, and that I thought, God, what does that sound like or look like, or how I can't imagine Prince Charles like that. And so I suppose that was the hardest part.
I think one of the greatest things of The Crown is that at the same time, it like shows that being part of the royalty, it's not as magical, right? Do you think that somehow like this series changed the audience view of the English crown itself?
I suppose so. I suppose what it made me realize was that, you know, unlike a president these are people who are heads of state who represent the constitution and of the country. They had no choice in that. You know, they have to be public figures, but they would never choose to be. You know, most presidents and politicians are like actors, really. They like the limelight. They're used to crowds. They're used to projecting something in public, and it really made me realize that these guys aren't, and in some ways that's, you know, that makes them, I think, probably in some ways more authentic, or certainly quite admirable in that they take on that role.
Interest in the princess's private life is unlikely to die down anytime soon.
The press are on our tails constantly.
All one wants is for that girl to find peace.
Is it true, Dominic, that the last scene that you actually shot with Elizabeth, who I spoke the other day, by the way, was without rehearsal, and you were like really emotional?
Now you mention it, yes. It's one of those rare situations where you have a camera on each person at the same time, and that sort of frees you up to, you know, if you've got a very emotional scene, you usually wait till the camera's on you before you play it. So, you know, I would have to, you know, do the scene with Elizabeth, and if you cry when you're off camera, very often it turns around and there's nothing left. There's nothing in the tank. I think deliberately made it so that there was a camera on each of us and we had no rehearsal and went straight into it, which makes it much easier. The difficulty with acting on screen is that you have to repeat it 20 times, and especially with an emotional scene, that can be quite difficult.
But probably was that the most difficult scene of the entire time in The Crown for you?
That was all right. That was easy because it was with Debicki and she's so good, you know.
What was your favorite one?
Probably that one. Yeah, and the one we did last season together when we were cooking an omelette together. She's a great person to act with. But I think there were more difficult ones when I come into the hospital in Paris and see Diana for the first time, and you know, she wasn't there. There was a cross on the camera box, you know. That's much harder. But when you've got a real person, it's much easier.
But that scene was terrible. It was so emotional.
Oh, right.
Like, it was the very first time that I actually loved Prince Charles. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
good.
just I saw him as a human, you know, like crying,
good.
devastating.
Great. Thank you.
Any favorite outfit? Did you enjoy wearing the white Royal Navy suit? Probably the most, I don't know.
That's the one. How did you know? It's the best.
I know everything.
It's the best. Yeah, the white sailor, the white admiral's outfit or whatever it is. Tropical, yeah. Yeah, no, that was definitely the one. I think everyone looks good in that outfit. It's something they should wear all the time.
Is it true that you are an ambassador of Charles Foundation?
Yeah, I think most actors are, but I'm one of, I think it's called an ambassador. We shout.
Well, you actually collaborate with the foundation itself.
Yeah. But that was before I did this, actually, and
I heard that you sent like a resignation when you were about to take this role, and they actually rejected.
Well, it wasn't really a resignation. I just said, look, if it's embarrassing, then I'm perhaps I should step back. And I got a message from his private secretary saying, no, it's fine. You carry on. I think most actors I know are also ambassadors. They're very good at marshalling, you know, famous people to come and help in the fundraising or in the awards giving and all that sort of stuff.
Mummy, you okay?
I'm okay. It's just...
The death of the Queen caught you right in the middle of the filming. So how did this impact you and your colleagues?
It was momentous, you know, and it was particularly quite apart from one's own feelings of sadness of a great life ending. It was fascinating to see so much coverage of the royal family and of Charles, and to see him in the days afterwards when he became king, when you got little glimpses of his inner life, you know, when he got angry about that pen and all those little snippets of what was going on underneath. That's the sort of stuff that I've been desperate to see for the years of studying him. And so it was incredibly helpful in terms of the performance and the show, I think, to see this institution at its sort of most dynamic, i.e. the transition from one monarch to another.
Thank you so much for this time, and
thanks,
it's
Barbie.
going to be hard to say goodbye to this show, honestly. I've been like suffering. You don't understand. It has been like my therapy, better than going to the shrink, you know, seeing shows of The Crown.
Well, thanks for watching, Barbie, and it's been good talking to you.